This part of the show, basically, and I know we talked about it earlier, but, I want to stay positive, but I have to do what I call, Cageside Carter's weekly rant. And in my weekly rant this time, just because, I know we're limited on time here, I just really want to rant on Amanda Lioness Nunes. I really want to call her Amanda Lying Ass Nunes. Last week was UFC 213, headline with a fantastic bantamweight women's bout between the champ Amanda Nunes and Valentina the Bull Shevchenko. Saxer rematch, yet the bout was canceled the day of the fight because Amanda Nunes called it quits because she was feeling ill. Now, I know things happen in MMA and people pull out of fights, but what really grinds my freaking gears is she pulled out the day of the fight, but she was medically cleared by the UFC doctors. She cited a sinus infection. Growing up, my parents would allow me to stay home if I had a freaking sinus infection, and she's pulling out of a fight. God damn, it was so bad that because she was a headliner, the UFC, due to Nevada State Athletic Commission rules, had to issue refunds for ticket holders because the headlining fight was canceled. So bad that the arena was low-key empty, and they had to tape off the upper level. Some of the causes of chronic sinusitis is dehydration and high temperature levels. And she says it's an ongoing problem for her, but of course it only happens leading up to the fight. Why is that? Well, because you're drastically cutting weight, which leads to being hydrated, and the fight's in Las Vegas, which is a freaking desert in midsummer, high temperature levels. Hello. As a professional fighter, you have to know this stuff and be prepared. No more freaking excuses. And, what really annoys me is that she quit the day of the fight, not because she was scared of her opponent, as we talked about earlier, but because, let's face it, she beat Valentina before, but she was scared to low-key not fight at 100%, and she was scared to lose her belt. God damn it, Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl with a surgically repaired neck. Tiger Woods won the U.S. Open with a torn ACL. It's crazy to think he'll go into a fight at 100%. There's a difference between being hurt and injured. She wasn't even freaking hurt. She had a sinus infection, and the UFC medical staff cleared her not once. For the weigh-in, they cleared her. And then she went back the next day, the day of the fight, they cleared her twice. Now Dana White's saying he has trouble trusting her. He's not going to allow her to headline a pay-per-view or any event again. And it makes me, a fan, myself nervous to, spend the $60 on a pay-per-view to watch her compete. And to all the freaking naysayers that say, well, you act like you've never gotten sick before. This stuff happens. My only question is, do you think she would have pulled out for a sinus infection if she was the challenger? And her claim to fame for beating Ronda Rousey, do you think if she had a sinus infection, she would have said, no, I can't compete. Let's reschedule. I doubt it. I know she's a woman, but Amanda Nunes, man, you're lacking some testicular fortitude. And that's my freaking rant of the week. I just need to get that off my freaking chest.
Get 'em.
Sick 'em. 3-0. Body bag. Put a body bag in a body bag. But, yeah, man, it's getting close to the end. After that, basically, kind of want to highlight it, the fighters of the week. People, since I just negatively spoke about someone, I just want to give my fighters of the week. And obviously, I want to say fighter of the week, but it kind of goes to both. I kind of give, kudos to Justin Gaethje for his amazing win, and then, of course, the comeback win from Robert Whittaker. I think they could be the weigh-in award for the week for co-winners. And I'll tell you that, just to wrap them up, I guess we can go back and forth with just picking them. But right now we can just focus on the main event. So next week on July 22nd, there's a fight night show, and it's between, used to be the baddest man on the planet, Chris Weidman versus Kelvin Gastelum. And it's in Chris Weidman's home city, I think Long Island or Staten Island, New York. We'll just get to it. So who you got?
Well, you think Kelvin makes weight?
It is at 185. That is a great question. It's sad that we have to talk about professional fighters and making freaking weight, which is like your job. But, yeah, I think he makes weight. I don't know what it is. I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to give him the nod. Wyman's on a slide. Gastelum, he's trying to, end these careers for these veterans. Wyman kind of like on the veteran side. I know it's his hometown, but I don't know. I might go with Gastelum.
Is it fair to say I'd never believed in the Chris Weidman hype ever? I don't even like Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
I don't even like Luke Rockhold, and I was going for him because I knew he'd beat him. And I don't know, man. Chris Weidman, I respect the craft, but I never really believed the hype, and I kind of took a minute, but I got validated by not believing his hype, even though he knocked out the GOAT. But I don't know. I still might have to actually give him this one after hating on him just now. I don't know, Kelvin Gastelum. He's still got something to prove for me. I mean, he has been doing great, but he just beat an old Vitor Belfort, and it's like, Vitor's one of my favorites, but he's not anywhere near close of what he was. And just other than that, I think Chris Weidman, he's got something to prove. He's got something to come back for, and at least to compete. I don't imagine he ever gets a grip of that belt again, but he's definitely going to compete.
Yeah, that's for sure. I just saw the stare down, man. And, Gastelum's like a Hector Lombard, kind of. Well, I think he can make 170. I don't know what his problem is. Obviously, he's smoking weed and gaining freaking weight. But he seems like he might be a little bit too big for 170, but small for 185. But in the stare down, I know, height's just one thing. You have to make the same weight. But, man, Wyman does, tower over that guy. He's like a foot freaking taller than him. I'm not sure what that means, but I was like, are they the same weight class? And you see, they're fighting each other? Is this like a super fight? It's wild.
Hey, Weidman's a big middleweight, man. He's a huge middleweight.
Mhm. But I don't know, Gastelum's got the youth. He's got. I think his boxing's better. I think Wyman was kind of fighting. I think that freaking knee from hell that Yoel Romero gave him, plus it messed up his freaking eye. He's got the Bisping eye. I know it's in his home freaking town, but I don't know. But he definitely needs to get back on the winning ways. He's lost his last three. Last one was controversial to Masasi, but Rockhold beat him up, and I forgot the guy after that, but he took him out and then Yoel, so, I don't know.
Wyman's got something to prove. Hope he doesn't prove me wrong. It's the first time I pick him in a fight.
Yeah. And running low on time, there was an actual fight today. I was like, wait, there's a UFC fight today? It was in Glasgow, Scotland.
Glasgow. Shout out to UFC Fight Pass.
And all I think the hometown people lost. Gunnar got whipped in the first round. JoJo didn't even make weight in her hometown. That's Joanne Calderwood, and she lost. It was close, but not thrilling.
She couldn't believe she didn't make weight either. Another one.
But hey, that was a great freaking discussion. 1791. We'll be back next week for another episode of The Weigh-In, where we weigh in on all things MMA. Please follow us at Battle Rap Radar. I am Cageside Carter, 1791. We are out. Any last words, Mr. 1791?
Follow the movement, Battle Rap Radar. GIAN 1791, and shout out to Optiks, man.
Yes, Optiks will be here next week. All right, so Cageside Carter 1791, and we are out. Tune in next week. All right, signing off.
Weigh in.